Hello everybody, welcome back to Let's Play Megaman 4. Time to start with Drill Man. I forgot what I was going to say. Anyway, now Drill Man stage is actually pretty easy. All you have to do is deal with metals and these weird flying enemies. I don't know their name. Big jumper bot. I've completely lost my train of thought of where I was going with this. Anywho, yeah, I'm trying to switch it up because people say I say anyway a lot. Now, Drill Man stage is not that bad. You just... I realize I'm saying that about every stage. Anyway, Drill Man stage is fairly straightforward, as you're just dealing with enemies. I don't know how I did that, but you also have to deal with these sections with the spikes, which make it pretty difficult. And dealing with the tauntauns in that mix is not exactly that easy. So you want to be careful with these jumps, and this jump for the life that I made is actually one of the hardest jumps in the game, because you have to be not pixel perfect, but quite close to it. Also, has anyone else noticed that there's like spikes in so far every stage that we've played? And there, I take damage. At least I'm not dead! Yeah, I'm trying to find a positive because, oh gosh. That'll be something that I'll never forget as long as I have this phone, because I don't know why I got so angry. I just threw it, and I'm gonna keep bringing that up. Why does music cut off? Anyway, here's the wire that I forgot to show off in the last episode. Is you look up, and then you shoot a grappling hook. It only works when you shoot upward, though, so you can't be like Batman, Megaman person. Yeah, here's also an extra fun fact that I forgot to mention in the first game, but since they did a... Yeah, in this section you might want to use, I don't know why we used it long, but you might want to use Skull Barrier in this section because of the falling rocks, and the enemies that can just drop on you like nothing else. But Megaman's one of his original names were actually supposed to be the Battle Rainbow Rockman. Yeah, try having that as a video game title. Could you guys imagine that? Just like instead of Mega Man 11, you just have the Battle Rainbow Rockman 11. Or the Battle Rainbow Mega Man 11. Anyway, now that we're at Drill Man, Drill Man's actually a fairly difficult boss that's weak to the dive missile. And it doesn't matter if you have his weakness or not. He's gonna give you some trouble. Because he uses his drill bombs, and he also drills under the ground. So what you want to do is you want to slide and run around as much as you can so that you'll avoid him. And then as soon as he comes up, fire, but the dive missile is like weird and wonky and just, you know, looks like it's going nuts. So that's the problem. So you want to just keep moving. You never want to stay still for more than a few seconds of this fight. And whenever he's drilling, you can't hurt him. He goes invincible whenever he starts drilling. And this is what makes the fight annoying. Because you're constantly running around trying to get hits in on him. And like the dive missile could easily just go straight, but you notice how it's like doing this weird loop thing to try and hit him. It's just like, it's going nuts. And then when he shoots his drill bombs at you halfway through the fight, you can't hit him because the drill bombs deflect your shots. It's crazy and hectic because if he was able to be programmed better because it's the NES, he could easily just tunnel up out of nowhere and start firing drill bombs, tunnel back under, and just keep that going. It would be a crazy boss fight if they could do something like that. But, you know, we get the drill bomb, as well as you got Rush Jet Adaptor. Yeah, you get Rush Marine and Rush Jet from the last two bosses I decided to take on. Yeah. On to the final boss, Toadman. Now, Toadman, his stage gives me hell. Like, seriously, it's not easy at all. It's the hardest stage in the game. But his boss fight? Well, let's just say if you want to take on a if you ever play Mega Man, and you play Mega Man 4, and you just have to deal with a boss fight, you fight Toadman. Seriously. Like, I doubt this would ever happen, but if you ever have a friend that, like, is like, hey, I bet you can't beat a Mega Man boss, and you get to pick which one, pick Toadman. If they don't have Toadman off the table, pick Toadman. Seriously, once you get to his boss fight, you'll be like, oh my god. Because in this section you have to deal with the rain that pushes you back as you're moving forward. And it doesn't affect you when you're standing, but it affects you when you jump. And then you have this section here with the moving water, which either pushes you back or launches you forward, with these big mouse enemies, as well as these like weird jelly robot floor dropper enemies that keep going up and down every time they see you in their path. So you want to keep an eye on them, so you gotta pay attention to the roof, and you gotta also have to pay attention to make sure you're not gonna fall into a pit, while also trying to deal with the mouse enemies. And then you have this section, where you're dealing with this giant snail, and fun fact, if you actually gun it for the exit where he's guarding, you can actually make it. You'll probably take damage, but you can make it, especially if you use the flash stopper. Now, normally I use the drill bombs here. Normally I use the drill bombs, but, you know, Pharaoh Shot actually works a lot better, and this is the first time I ever actually decided, hey, why don't I use Pharaoh Shot? It can work. When I say something funny about Pharaoh Shot is if you are fast enough or use the water to your advantage, you can actually just leave it behind. So yeah. And with the Pharaoh Shot being over your head, you can also take care of the bombs pretty easily, so it also helps in that department of... Because Pharaoh Shot, it defends you from, like, attacks that are from above, as well as, like, attacks that are coming from below. Unless you have fish and you can't aim properly, like me. But yeah, the Pharaoh Shot in this game is actually the best. Now I switched to the dive missile. It would have been smarter if I had switched to the skull barrier here, because I'm dead. I'll meet you guys back at this section. Please give me 1 minute. I'll be right back. Okay, now that we're back here, and once again I have the dive missiles equipped. I should have equipped the skull barrier, because then they couldn't touch me. But no, I'm dumb and I go with the dive missile. And sure, it does home in on enemies, but as you've seen in the Drill Man boss fight, and the fact that it just whirs all over the place like crazy, it doesn't work as well as it should. And now that we're at Toad Man, he jumps at you. If he stands there, you let him raise his arms, and then you shoot him. Raises his arms, you shoot him. Because he's trying to summon his rain dance, but if you shoot him, he resets. So you just sit there resetting his pattern, and he never fires. Or he jumps at you constantly, and you just slide under him. And I just teleported into the middle of the screen again. Oh yeah, I don't know why I'm celebrating that, it's just really dumb. Oh well! Now we get the Rain Flush. As well as Rush Marine. But, now that we've taken down Dr. Cossack's 8 Robot Masters, it's time to go face off with the Doctor himself. Also, an extra fun fact is Dr. Cossack is Russian. Because it's clearly not obvious when you look at this castle. As well as the snow. Because that's not clearly obvious. Stage 1. Also, snow. Yeah, if you go to the side here, you can actually get, I believe it's an energy tank. But because I can't see it, and I didn't check my inventory before I collected it, I honestly have no idea what it is. I'm good at my narration job. Now, Dr. Cossack Stage 1 is just filled with ice and the snow that you have to trudge through, as well as the slinky enemies. Because they're slinky enemies. Crazy mad scientist doctor that wants to take over the world? What does he invent? A toad robot that can do nothing. And slinkies. How is he supposed to rule the world again? I'm sorry. It's really funny when you're just like, you see this guy and he's just like, I'm gonna take over the world. Well, how you gonna do it, Dr. Cossack? With my slinky robots. I'm sorry. It's just funny. Now in this section, you have to deal with these weird like the popping out of hole enemies. I don't know what they're called. I'm gonna call them dust mites. Yeah. They're dust mites, even though it's not their actual name. I honestly doubt it is. But yeah, you just have to be careful not to fall into any of the pits as the dust mites pop out. As you slowly climb a tower. Well, climb the outside of the castle, because that's how that works before you can break in. You gotta climb the side of the castle. They also do the same thing in Mega Man 6. But we'll get to that when we get to Mega Man 6. You know, I also realized is how close I am to finishing up Mega Man 4. Because seriously, it's one more part left, and we're done Dr. Cossack's stage before we get on to the... before we face off against the Doctor and end the game. Now this section is actually pretty annoying, because the first 2 ladders lead up to a small section, and then the second 2 ladders lead up to a small section, and then the last ladder leads up to the boss room. But they also have weapon energy pellets, so it might be a good idea to collect them if you need weapon energy, but I doubt... Ah, dang it. No, I thought I fell farther. This music is actually pretty good, and I don't know why my headset keeps cutting off. Maybe it's dying. I should get a better microphone. I'm just kind of rambling to myself now, and, you know. Okay, yeah, that was a smart plan, me. Now you just gotta deal with this big spike jump robot that I choose to deal with the Mega Buster. Hey look, an extra life. Ain't that neat? Now it's time to take on the first boss, who is weak to the ring boomerang. Rings. Take down... moths? I'm pretty sure this is a moth robot. Anyway, what he does is he shoots giant energy pellets at you wherever you're standing, and then that big drill thing at the bottom, I don't know what you call it. I'm trying to think of a name. He usually just stabs the ground like you've seen earlier and breaks the floor, so if he breaks away too much of the floor, you're going to have nowhere to stand. But even if you're using the Mega Buster... Also, I'm sorry to people who have, what's it called? Are prone to seizures because of flashing lights. Yeah, you might want to look away when I'm finishing bosses. But anyway, since that was the last stage for... Well, since that was the third stage of this, we'll be finishing up Dr. Cossacks' castle in the next episode. So, I will see you guys later.